Yeah, Monroe, just how do you feel like practice has been this week, specifically for you guys on the offensive line, just what you guys have accomplished 2 days into the week?
I mean, it definitely is still early in the week, but, we're attacking every day like, it's just the game. Every single day is the game. So, we're just stacking every single day. And I think today we definitely ramped up the intensity. Whenever we have big games like this, Kirby loves to make these games. And the practice is really intense, a lot of crowd noise.
Yeah, to follow up on that, Kirby was talking about testing the tank as far as physicality goes in practices. What is the energy like in practice this week, when you've got an SEC opponent, waiting at the end of the week?
I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a difference. We try to prepare for each opponent the same way, but when it comes to SEC schedule, we really ramp up the intensity. We built our program on team run. That's our practice. That's our period of the day where we really try to attack each other. So, just attacking every play.
Yeah, you talk about the emphasis on team run. There was obviously a lot of emphasis on the running game this offseason. How do you think the offensive line has done in terms of so far opening up holes and allowing that run game to have success?
So far, I think we probably still haven't played to our best. We're trying to get better every single day, but we're getting a lot better on our fundamentals. Shoulder angles, first steps, all those things, and just trying to stack the days and keep going, get better as the season goes.
Kirby just talked about winning the small moments during the game. What are some of the few things that you guys can do better to put you in a better spot to win those moments?
I'd say communication. Communicating before the snap and just everyone being on the same page, because when it's loud out there, communication is probably the most important thing on those away environments.
Last year you got the first starts of your career when Ernest got banged up. Just what was that experience like for you? And then especially looking back at those games now, how big do you feel like those games were for your development?
I think they're important, but, when you're coming in starting after being a swing tackle, it's a little bit different expectation than it is coming in and being considered the starting tackle of the season. So I think it's just kind of a mindset change this year.
You'll have a couple younger guys on the offensive line. As a veteran, what's some of the things that you're telling them about not only playing against SEC opponents but on the road?
I mean, it's loud. I mean, it's very, very loud out there, and that just trusting your fundamentals and technique that we do in practice every day. Because I always tell them that you get out there. At the end of the day, it's just football. Go out there and play football, have fun, because it don't make it more than what it is.
What's the most important thing as an offensive line that kind of measures how you guys are doing pass protecting? Because obviously Gunner's got an ability that can get away from sacks that might happen with other quarterbacks.
I mean, it's strain. Strain. It's what we stress every single day, especially in our play actions and, on our dropbacks, keeping less pressure in the pocket, just straining for as long as we can.
Yeah, Ernest battling a little bit of injury, but in the offseason moves from left tackle to right tackle. What does he mean to this offensive line, and how important is he for this group to come together?
I mean, he brings probably the most snaps, most experience that the O-line has this year. He has a lot of experience. He probably played the most snaps other than Micah when we played Tennessee last year. So his experience is definitely really important, and I think that he's going to help us. Yeah.
The talk throughout the offseason was about running the ball better. Just for the offensive line, how big is this test on Saturday playing Tennessee and trying to achieve that, being able to run the football?
It's our biggest test so far. I mean, all of the fundamentals, everything we worked over the offseason, redefining our technique and all those things. It's going to be the biggest test for sure, and we're excited.
Monroe, obviously you still remember what it was like as a true freshman coming here and try to prove yourself and everything. When you look at what Dontrell Glover has done, especially considering he got here in the summertime, that short amount of time, what stood out the most about what he's been able to do?
I mean, he's a football player. At the end of the day, he came in and has been playing football ever since, and I'm really proud of what he's done so far. And I'm excited to see how he progresses through the season.
Got to see a little bit of Bo on Saturday against Austin Peay. Just what stands out to you about his development and where he is as an offensive lineman?
I mean, I remember he came in here. I think he might have been 250. So he's putting a lot of weight so far, and he just comes every single play with fire, passion, energy. What we try to, our new core DNA trait in our program, he has that fire and energy every single play, and he loves the game of football.
Just what's the difference playing on the road? Obviously, it's loud, but just as a left tackle, as a right tackle, having to communicate. What are some of the things you guys have to do on the sideline, and just who is the guy that you have felt like has been the one that's been communicating the best so far?
I mean, Drew Bobo, obviously center. He's going to have to communicate the best, but it's up to the guards. It's up to everybody just to communicate down the line because, whenever we played at Ole Miss last year, it was loud out there. I remember I got a false start, and I was just mad, but it's just like you gotta be more locked in when you're on the road because there's a lot of noises and a lot could go wrong and a lot could go right. You just got to be locked in.
What's your impressions of Tennessee's pass rushers, Joshua Josephs, I guess in particular? What have you seen from him? They penetrate. They love to come off the ball. They're strong rushers. They love the bull. They love contact. They're probably the most physical rushers we played so far, and I'm excited to compete.
What do you remember about playing at Tennessee in 2023 as a freshman?
I remember that very first play. They scored the touchdown. It's the loudest I've heard in any other stadium. And, that's what I'm telling these freshmen right now, anyone that hasn't been there, it's a really loud stadium. You better get ready.
You were pretty animated after the last play of the first half the other day. Was that frustration over not scoring? I know Ethan got hurt. Was it feelings about that? Just what do you remember about the last play of the half and kind of what you were feeling as you were walking off the field?
It's just, we know it's not our standard. And it's not our standard at the end of the day. And, frustration comes when I see, one of our players getting hurt, one of our good freshmen getting hurt. And it's all those emotions combination of just that drive. And, I probably lost my composure a little bit, but it's just the passion. I love the game of football. You hate to see when, you stress yourself on being the best line and having the best fundamentals, and then you don't score when you're on the goal line.
You talked about the mindset having to be different when you're going into a season as a starter. So what was this offseason like for you, and where do you feel like you grew the most going into this season as a full-time starter?
I'll say it was a little difficult in spring, being injured, and knowing that, I had that game against Notre Dame that I wish I could have got back, and having to know that I had a couple months till I could actually put the pads on again. And I think the mindset's just changing that, I'm a role model now for all these young guys, so I'm going to have to show them how to do it and, set the standard at the position and just try to lead the line.
You just mentioned how you're letting everybody know that hasn't played there yet, it's loud, get ready. Is that something you can prepare for, or is it kind of just one of those things where you don't really know what it's going to be like until you get there and the game starts?
You can pump all the crowd noise in the practice as you want, but when you get there, it's different. At the end of the day, it's on the road in the stadium with a very hostile fan base and environment. So, just playing football at the end of the day.
That's a silly question here, but you've been here 3 years now, and being as Tennessee week is up. Has Kirk ever brought up the fact that he intercepted Peyton Manning as a redshirt freshman?
I don't think he has. I think he stays a little bit humble, but I know he wants to bring it out sometimes.
Yeah, from matching up with him in practice, what are you seeing out of Joseph Jonah and Chanye and the growth that he's made this year?
I think at the beginning, at least his freshman year, might have battled a little bit of injuries, but he's gotten a lot better, just fitting runs and playing as physical as he can be because he's a very strong guy. I know that for sure.
Time for one more question. Go ahead.
Obviously, you've played in these big games and you've been in these situations before. Just, is there still the excitement or the, oh man, this is why I came here type feeling, when you going into these big games?
100%. You get to go out there and play in front of the best stage, biggest stage in America, and you get to go out there and play football. What's not to love? Best environment. I love being on the road.
Thank you, Monroe.
Thanks, Monroe.